It's like
now it's
now we are live.
Hello.
We are all in the Scala.
No.
Adrian is here.
Physically, yeah.
Can we get the laptop on the table?
Maybe we can balance it on the spot.
I've tried.
So, hello everyone. We are the same meeting, in the Scala Contributor Summit here in Berlin after an exciting and also tiring Scala days. So we don't have many things to discuss in this meeting. So we were planning to have a look at the binary implicit SIP that Miles did, and we numbered in the previous iteration, the previous meeting. But this time, as we don't yet have a clear idea of what's going to happen with this SIP, we are going to move to the discussion about Scala 2 and Scala 3. So Martin gave a very exciting presentation. Martin gave a very exciting presentation on Scala Days about the future of the language, and now we have a lot of questions to answer, especially when it comes to migration and how we can make the transition good. And we also have to discuss how the Scala 3, the future of the language is going to play, or is going to be transition towards from the perspective of the SIP process. So we need to kind of create some strategy to backport language features or accept the kind of exciting improvements that have happened on the Scala 3 front. So it is my understanding that Martin has some proposal or some kind of ideas of how we may want to achieve that. So the purpose of this meeting is to go through them.
No, I don't have a proposal. It's more a set of questions. So one thing is, so far the SIP committee has been mostly about, and exclusively actually, about specifying Scala 2. So the first question is, well, do we extend the mandate of the SIP committee to also to Scala 3? So that's the first thing. If not, then I guess
don't worry, we will.
If the language doesn't fork it, the SIP committee would then essentially disband with very short notice.
Oh, wait a minute.
We'll continue to specify the language that is there. That's fine.
We are all fired.
Okay. So we say, okay, in principle. So that's, I guess, the first decision to make, that the SIP committee is there to essentially discuss and decide on Scala 3. The next, that poses another big question. So far, what we have so far, I just counted the features. We have
how many SIP meetings are there
features.
we have 16 new features, 9 change features, 11 drop features, and that's the current status. There's all the work we have to do on typo programming, macros, which are, and then various other goodies. What was it? Polymorphic function types. So it's a huge number of features, and our current meeting rate and our current very careful decision making, this will take approximately 10 years.
Well, I think there's a lot of latency because we have to go back and forth. Do you have an implementation? Do you have motivation? Like there's some pipelining going on here, right? Like all of it is already basically done, and we just need to divide it into like semantic chunks and talk about them. And, you know, so
Maybe
I think
it's possible that we can ratify 3 of those in one meeting.
Yeah, easily. I think like most of the removals, I think like that would take like maybe 2 meetings.
Okay.
Several of the easy additions, that would be another 2 meetings, and then we can look at the more difficult ones, or like separate ones.
Yeah.
But I think maybe we can start by proposing like a structure of the things that we think are, basically uncontroversial and just need to be presented, and I guess we need some time for people to register objections or something like that. But in general, I think we could just do like an indicative vote or something, like these things are just clear wins.
Can I ask a silly question, perhaps? What is our Scala spec?
What about it?
There's tension in the room now.
You just felt the
So indeed, yeah,
I mean,
the
I-
removals, it's easy. I'm willing to remove
Yeah, right.
everything.
I volunteer for this.
yeah.
Too late already.
Oh, shit.
I mean, it would be, I guess the most productive use of our time would be if we collectively came up with a spec that's actually accurate, because I mean, the current spec isn't, it's a
Sure.
short point from
Right.
here. And that would be, but that's another,
I know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put more work on the queue, it was
Yeah,
just kind of a
yeah,
thing that, you know, every now and then we get flagged for it, so
Yeah.
that's.
Well, it's already on the queue. Yeah, for sure. It needs to be done.
Okay.
but I mean, so the main issue that we have, I guess, is that we said feature freeze in a year, and I think we have to keep to that because I don't want to change it to the last moment. So it means a year is a very short time. So what can we achieve in a year? And,
Well, for some of them, it's
I guess
shorter,
that
actually.
if a year is feature freeze, and in a year we should know what features to support. So that's number one priority.
Well, we have a few things we actually want to do in 2.14 already, right?
Yeah.
So those we should do first.
Yeah.
You know, like tray parameters,
Tray
for example.
parameters.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
Thread
some-
is
yeah.
already.
No.
For example.
No, it's, no, like,
There's not a lot
because,
of progress on
I don't
exception,
think
because then-
implementation, yeah.
just saying.
There's
So if
a
there's
SIP,
someone-
as in there's a document, but it was never really.
if there's
Because
someone that picks it
even-
up and
It wasn't
implements
even put forward to the meeting.
what do you mean?
Did we actually discuss or even?
I think we did, yeah, at some
Yeah.
point. But we put it to, like, right now it's marked as dormant because there was no person that implemented it. So if there is someone that picks it up and implements
That's
it,
that's the thing.
then we can just bring it.
But, okay, so
Again,
that
to
raises
the review
another
process.
question then. If the mandate of this committee is to do Scala 3, then I guess the Scala 3 implementation will count as the only implementation.
yeah,
So
I
we
think
don't need a
that
Scala 2
that makes
implementation.
sense. I think either compiler having implementation would be enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing I think that we both could and should start on early is putting all of these changes out for public comment.
Right.
I think that could start pretty much right away, and then by the time that we consider them, we would have this accumulated feedback to read over.
We
and
should do
consider.
the why wasn't I consulted thingy, with like what you did with the duration on like the until August 10th for the feedback on.
Okay.
That way, that we can, there's a cycle, like we,
Okay.
you know, okay, we collect feedback, we do the summary or whatever on August 10th, and then there's a
Yeah,
verdict,
that's
and
a
then we
good
move forward, because otherwise these things can go on for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There's urgency here. But
I mean,
think we
the
have a
one
good
good
chance.
thing is we do have all the changes, all the current changes in one place, so we can throw them out immediately. I don't know whether you want to throw them out all together or in batches.
I think we should do batches. I think
one discourse thread per.
Yeah, and that
per
would, yeah,
batch, probably.
right, and then usually, we also did determine like a window that we would be collecting feedback and whatnot, but yeah, one
Yeah.
per batch.
The reason I would do it per batch and not per features, that some features replace each other, like, you know, early initializers or things like tray parameters. I think if you want to discuss like trade-offs or, you know, this is an easy example. This one isn't
Yeah.
controversial, but there's several like that.
You have to should be like what six.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this is the easy example, but I think there's multiple things like that you know, come together and should be discussed together.
Does it make sense to, I mean, we haven't done it up till now, but require that if a spec change is needed for a given SIP to be accepted, that that's actually part of the SIP itself.
That was
I mean, I think-
But that we probably won't have a full spec in the year. I don't see that coming.
Well, we might at least have the
patches.
relative to the
Yeah.
SIP and the pull requests. I mean, so the stuff
No.
I've
Quilts.
PR'd, I have
That's
I
right.
have deltas for the SIP for each of
But
the.
I fear that with all this, we won't be able to.
No, but this is, I mean,
The new editions will be.
So my hope would be that we get it in about 2 years, maybe. So by the time it's out, it would be great to have a spec, of course. But I think spec,
but I guess the organizational question that's trying to be answered here is, you know, we should generally suggest that there should be a patch to the spec with each one of these things. In your case, you have 80 things and, you know, none of them have spec changes,
Yeah.
but perhaps a handful of them can be easy whatever,
principle,
a bunch of them are maybe not, but we can deal with those down the road. But anything else should generally, we should just try to aggregate them. If we have them, you have some, we should aggregate them.
So
I think it's just
completely agree
best
that
effort
essentially
towards
it's a
select.
to-do item to develop spec language for each one of these, but I don't know whether we can get to the time where we.
I think it's fine. I think we should just generally encourage it though.
So I think we will probably need to decide on some of those without having those.
Yeah, well, as long as there's like a good
Provisionals.
description of them and some
Which
motivation.
is not
behind it.
ideal.
An
I
attempt
don't
or-
want
I don't know,
to make
even
a
if
habit of this. So just to be clear, so I think
Well,
that
could something minimal be? We've got a bunch of changes which don't have much in the way of formal language. Could a spec change include an addition of a link to a SIP? I mean, it's pretty minimal, but you know, it's at least a placeholder and it holds stuff together.
I'd rather just have, I mean, like, I think, finding the relevant SIP is not going to be that hard. I think what is often missing from the spec and is actually more interesting is intent. And how do I think this feature is going to be used? What is the motivation behind it? Kind of that kind of behavior behavioral explanation of how to do these things. I'm okay just accepting SIPs with that.
It would be nice to have just a kind of summary of what spec changes will be needed, like what will it look like?
Yeah,
What sections will need to be changed and what will basically be said?
Right, like a rough outline of I expect it's going to be like, yeah. I think that's fine.
I think the most important thing is just to have a clear idea of what a feature, what a feature is and how it's supposed to be used by users. So the clear value that the feature gives to users is important and should be set upfront. Even if we don't have a fully worked out spec, it's important that people know the expectations of a feature.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's great that if we can make progress, if we work on that language, then that's definitely progress.
Yeah, I think we need to be a little bit pragmatic here. I think the most important thing is to actually get feedback on the different features, and to have a central repository with at least good descriptions of them. It doesn't have to be like in SIPpies, in speckies. I mean, yeah, we shouldn't really let me talk. These things. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but that, I mean, just to like summarize or step back, it sounds like, tend towards, something language close spec-ish, but like, more formal. If you have bits and pieces, amazing, definitely include it. But it's, we know we're not going to have all of it by 1 year from now. We're going to have random patchwork things that don't actually go well together, but perhaps it contributes to an actual nice spec a year later. But a complete Scala-free spec
So the
a
thing
year
we
later.
have is sort of a slightly different format, which is sort of partly introductory, partly filling the details without actually making an effort to have very, very precise language. But I mean, generally we try to give you all the info. It's sort of like what the Rust people did for their language guide, which I found very well done. But it's sort of also pedagogical and sort of trying to have these simple things to motivate.
I think between that and the implementation, we can probably reverse those in your respect.
Yeah. Okay. So this, why wasn't I consulted thing? So I think it would be very good to do that.
Organizationally, the way that it needs to work is somebody needs to own. So for each of the, so we were talking about bunching them or batching them.
Yep.
Whatever, but for every discourse thread, somebody needs to own it. And it's somebody's got to babysit it, which means you've got to keep an eye. There's going to be lots of posts, lots of questions,
Right.
and it's your job to just keep track of kind of the main points, right?
Okay.
Whatever for every discourse thread, somebody. And it's not. Yeah, this is trying to help answer questions on the YouTube channel. And sort of whoever keeps track of these things, at the very end, it's just help answer questions and whatnot. And at the very end, you kind of summarize all of the main sort of points that have been brought up.
Okay.
And then sort of whatever the judgment is from the SIP committee or whatever. Like we've heard all of this, we decided this, whatever. So people have like a complete, summary of what happened, right? But organizationally, basically because that requires tracking the contributors thread, aggregating the main points, and then posting the results. So just, it's best to assign this to one person. So for each one of these that we would make, somebody should be the owner of it. And I mean, clearly we don't give them all to like one person, that would be untenable.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it would be like, hey, we should all take one.
And afterwards, we should publish some blog posts of how we've addressed feedback or how we've.
One step after,
Yeah.
yes, that would be ideal, but bare minimum, I think would be this thingy.
Yeah.
Okay, so it means we need actually quite a few volunteers from this.
Yeah,
committee.
and we could also, not just in this committee, but I think we can also ask people, you know, who care about some of these issues for help as well.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, I think that, you know, there's plenty of people who are very interested in some of these things and who could help track them. Yeah,
Right, right.
I'm happy to take a batch, but not.
yeah, definitely not.
Not right away.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, you take one, like, you know, let's say there are 20, all right? You take one, maybe take two over the course of this whole thing. It's kind of like reviewing academic papers. We can't just expect Adrian to do it. We can't expect you to do it. You know, we have to spread it out because it's, you know, it's babysitting a thread that will go on for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, since I'd like to do train parameters, for example,
Okay.
that would be one that I would be happy to do this right on.
Maybe we should start with like first, so that
Yeah, I
if
think that would be
people
good.
that care about one packet.
That's good.
So we set a link with.
Do you want to do one?
Are there any current?
Not now.
threads
Maybe the
that-
driving ones, you know? Those don't exist yet, but for example.
But yeah.
For example. Clearly, it's like.
Maybe we can
highly-
make a choice. in the
Doesn't
future
exist,
about
you know, but,
who
you
can
know,
take- who
presuming.
can do what, and we can assign reviewers and we can
But I
assign.
mean, people who'd be interested in the actual feedback and whatnot would be the best ones to be on.
Or it actually would be good to do some action and come out with some of them very soon.
So, yeah,
For the next meeting.
Maybe the first one should be the removals, because that will mean we have to also deprecate these things into 13 and 14.
Yeah.
So that's maybe, you know, basically one batch.
And that's gonna be a pretty good one to start with too, because it's also a little simpler, right? Like, it's
Absolutely.
also getting the process going.
And young people to generate the most heat, of course.
Young people to be
Some of the rest.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we can do the removals in two batches, you know, like the obvious ones and then the contentious ones. I mean,
So do we need to seek for like removing procedure syntax?
Yeah.
no, we don't need a SIP, but I think it's still good to, you know, this is not just about the SIP process. This is also about listening to everybody that is using Scala and is, you know, has skin in the game that way to also express what's happening or influence somehow what's happening. And so this is closely related to the SIP, but I agree, we don't need a SIP to remove procedures.
They should be in a batch.
Yeah,
So
so
is there a mega SIP with all the basic areas that are removed, so procedural,
maybe that's.
Just for the
really
sake
what-
of documentation, for the future, because
view type?
I actually use like some of these old SID documents sometimes as documentation, right? There's like the arrays here and stuff.
It's good to document why that we're dropping them, what they will be replaced by, you know, like to kind of sketch like, you know, how this all hangs together. You know, obviously the macro one will be a separate one. That won't be like in the batch. That doesn't make sense. But, you know, we could do like one about the types, one about like the obvious ones. Like, I think there should be one batch that's just about types, right? Like adding union types, adding extension types, type lambdas, and then removing extension types. Like, I think that makes sense as a batch, like, you know, the new types batch.
Yeah.
And then we have like, removing stuff. You know, there's stuff that is still not entirely uncontroversial, but probably will be fine. And then I think, you know, you list macros as drop features, but it's not really drop, it's
Replaced.
replaced, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, I don't think it belongs in that batch.
That's true.
As
long as we didn't have another.
No, I mean, it's good to be provocative here, but on this list, but I think in the discussion, it's a different story.
Static there? Is that a new feature?
What?
Do you have a static as a new
Yeah.
feature?
Do we have documentation?
Yeah.
We can make a
Just
SIP
like-
for.
Yeah.
That's not.
There's the prosthetic.
Yeah.
Flashbacks.
I was just wondering if it
Word
was here in the
flashbacks
list.
to the last static one.
Or it's tailored.
Yeah.
APIs.
Mhm.
No, but that's another
Okay,
one. That's
not
another one.
flashbacks.
Oh, no, yeah.
So how are we gonna organize ourselves? And so one of them is essentially the public discussion. And the other is that we have to essentially get them here in batches and decide on
So, so I agree with Adrian on starting with some of the easy removals you got to write them down, right? Fine, it's in a contributors thingy, and then down the road we can have one SIP of all the removals, just so that we have documentation in the future of like how this went. But then the next thing is we choose somebody to babysit the babysit's the wrong word, but keep an eye on the contributors thread for that one, and to start sort of this process. And then then you would know best which what the best order is to go after that. Like what's the next one we do?
Well, yeah, we should discuss it. I mean, I'm just like spitballing my proposal. Like, I think it makes sense to talk about types. It makes sense to talk about.
Is that the order that you think they should go in?
Maybe, I don't know. I was just kind of coming up with some, to me, seemingly logical batches.
Okay, yeah.
So the batches also on point to me. I guess I just want to make sure we do it in like a reasonable order, perhaps. Like easier ones first,
Well, I think
and then once
more sense
people
to
know
just-
the process, then we can do the.
We also can't just leave the hardest ones until the last.
No,
No, yeah, that's true. I don't mean to do that. I just mean, mostly because this is like a process that we're trying now, so it's kind of like to get people understanding how we're doing it.
I don't know. I think what we should do is like someone paste this page into a Google Doc, and then we kind of have to go and partition it.
Okay, yes.
I don't think we should do that right now.
Okay.
It's kind of boring to watch as what
It's
goes
also
where.
fine. Yeah.
But it's important. We should have this done in the next few weeks before New York.
What percentage of them?
Like the batching should just be done.
The batching should be done, but I guess it should be
And then
before New York we could start some of these, but we don't want all of them at the same time, right? Because that would just be
No. I was just purely talking about coming up with a plan.
Yeah.
Not actually
Okay.
a plan. And then
'Cause,
maybe the first step of the plan can be taken. I don't know, when is the next meeting plan for it?
Well, I think we could even do like the removals, and perhaps even the types ones. Probably those before Scala days, as in get them written up and then on contributors. Like there's nothing stopping us from those.
So the deadline is a year from now.
Mhm.
So we have how many SIP meetings between now and then?
Yes.
Is that enough?
Well,
Yeah, that's a good question. Can
How many features?
we, put it,
25 or something?
16 new, 9 changed, 11 dropped.
So
Seems
30.
kind of
I think
like-
that's like six. You can do like 6 batches and like
So that's,
two meetings per batch.
Yeah.
Close call, but yeah, doable.
no. But seriously, we have. I don't want to give you a hard time, but we need to do them like one month. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
we probably need to discuss it.
Sure. I think that's better anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have these meetings to hash out some of the finer points and to get to consensus, but to discuss like the technical side of things. You get a free record
Yes.
of all your conversations.
Yeah.
You can do it, whenever.
Okay, so should we do anything between now and New York?
Well, why not get these two
Types.
Creating the contributors thread for each batch.
Well, so batching should be done, a plan should be done, and I think we can start those first two on contributors.
Okay, very good, yeah.
Is that reasonable?
So the types and removals.
Will be the
Which
first two,
removals? Yeah, but yeah,
Like, the removals
Easy
are not
removals.
replacements.
yeah, the full removals, not macros created.
macros.
Yes,
Basically,
Yeah.
anything that we intend to deprecate. Just-
Yes.
Or that has been deprecated for 213.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is mostly for the record, right?
Yeah. So that will be just to list the things in one delay in it, existential types, generalized type projections, so type variable, hashtag variable, procedure syntax, early initializers, class shadowing, limit 22, XML literals, auto application, so you essentially open parents, first parents insertion, and weak performance. And there's another one which is not yet decided, which
performance
is
is okay.
this double issue of auto boxing and multi-parameter index operations. But, we want to do that or not.
Auto-tapping.
Sorry?
Auto-tapping.
Auto-tapping, yeah, sorry, auto-tapping, yeah, and multi-parameter. So my position there would be, I would dare to do this for free only if it was deprecated in 14 or 15.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted
It's
to
too
clarify
much-
something on that.
it's too much of a change.
Do you need to deprecate the infix application or definition of them?
The infix application with a warning at the definition that you
Okay,
won't
so-
be able to write this
Okay,
if it's symbolic. So,
Okay,
currently
so-
the TR gives you a warning if you write a symbolic operator with more than one parameter, because you won't be able to use it as an infix.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Did you have the constraint that you need to define an alphanumeric method for every symbolic one?
No,
That idea is gone.
not pursue so far. Yeah.
So, but it is kind of annoying that you can't like escape that
I
warning.
have the impression the community is known by itself, but we don't need to.
Fixed button.
Well, causes one issue, at least in the prediction, is that some of the prediction methods that pattern have a symbolic alias. But then when you overwrite pattern, you also need to overwrite the alias if you have a
Not in
precise-
213. One of the two is the final.
The alias is final and the symbolic.
All right, no, yeah, you can't. But the issue is when you want to get a more precise type signature to pattern method, then the alias doesn't get the more precise.
Okay, so you're, okay. Yeah.
So having the Latin fix, then
Right.
Oh, you mean like like having an annotation to specify the alternate name, but that's like a whole can of words as well.
Yeah.
If someone asks for actually,
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Scala
Let's not give people ideas for more sense.
We have a JS name, JavaScript
Yeah, maybe,
classes.
yeah. I guess I'm not against it, I'm just saying we have a lot of them. So basically,
So it's a scope that work. That good for us. Good, so it sounds like a plan, no?
I think that's excellent, yeah.
Maybe we can finish the meeting. We are all tired here.
So-
It's been a very, very tiring week.
I don't want to stress anybody out, but
However,
however, but I'm going to stress you out. No, I'm not going to ask you about the spec again, I promise. So it would be good to just know who's producing and who's receiving, right? So for the removals thingy, who's doing that, and for the types thing, who's doing that? I mean, this would be on your side with, I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
But, and then who's getting this passed to? Are you putting it just directly in contributors, I presume? Who's gonna take care of the contributors thread?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's maybe just decide who is doing this so that like one person doesn't freak out and is not overwhelmed or something. I know you're stressed out, but
I can help out.
maybe you can handle the removals and somebody else can write it.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
And who wants to handle the types?
I can't defend all of it because I don't want to defend.
So somebody's gonna write it, and
I'm happy to learn
Adrian
from
could
the
watch
thread.
the thread, maybe, if you're interested.
Sure.
What do you mean by writing?
Well, you gotta, like write something down explaining the addition, right? I mean, so it's either a SIP or it's like okay, yes.
I would say we refer them to the segment everything. So that's what
I can't see which document.
Okay.
That,
So
okay.
we say, okay, we refer to these 5 things, so. So do we need a different thread for each of those, maybe? Or-
No, I think we can batch them, it's
Okay.
fine, batch them. I didn't, because I couldn't see what you were looking at, I wasn't sure that this was the text.
Oh,
That's fine, so it's,
we have,
it's
we
written
actually
now.
have
It's written.
Very detailed record of what it is, so that's an advantage.
yes, that's good, that's
And
great.
I would say let's spend our energy rather than writing long things in the contributor thread, spend our energy, if it needs fleshing out, do a pull request against that, flesh out the docs, and then we have it for
Can I ask
future.
a silly question again? So this one, I normally would think this is the dumbest question ever, so I'm embarrassed to ask it, but would it be advantageous to actually put this text in the thread only because, I know there's some people who can't look at certain websites, whatever.
You can copy paste it.
And then we can take pull requests from the community to the, I know,
I worry
right?
about duplicating the text here. And people can really
Google and see the wrong version.
Yeah, I really think there should be one source of truth, and I'm okay because we're already like now kind of implicitly talking about moving the SIP repository into like the body like doc repository here, right? I think that's already one big step. And I'm happy to do this for expediency, but then I think we need to have a little bit, like we need to have one repository where these discussions, like the discussions can happen as far as I'm concerned on a contributors thread or on pull requests. Not too bothered about that, but then ultimately the text needs to go somewhere, and I would hate to be copy pasting between like here.
I agree with that.
I was going to say that one source of truth does actually point to posting, because people are voting on the people should vote on the text that's there in front of them, not some link to it.
That might have changed or something. I don't know.
Well, but you can also update, you just as easily change the post on the contributors forum. So I don't think that's relevant at all.
I don't think it's a big issue.
You can link to a commit for the markdown source.
Yeah, if you're concerned about being misinterpreted or misunderstood, then
And
that's
some new types being added by the backdoor later on.
yeah. I think the way that I see the contributors thread is here's a number of things that we want to do with a link to the page here. Maybe a short motivation that says why we made this batch this way, like these fit together like that. This is why we're presenting these together. This is the deadline. Pull requests go here.
Sure.
And
Maybe
that's it.
But then another question is, as we merge these batches or as they get approved, what should we do with the text? Should we try to put that into the spec website? Or should we
mean which text?
we will be removing and adding features, right? We have our current spec, right? The Scala spec for 2.12.
you'd have a new
So
one.
should we try to move all of these examples or kind of motivation to the spec, or do we?
No, I think it's
separate?
great to have a page like this that
I
people will.
would say for the moment it's good like this, but it could be for some things very detailed spec language that we have. And then I would say let's make a link in one of these sections. Maybe at the end to say essentially scene blah blah for detailed discussion, and then we have it here and we can at some point integrate it all in the spec. But for the moment I would put it all on these pages. If it's too detailed that you say, well, people will run away screaming from the details, then let's put it in a separate markdown from the summary.
Yeah, you need like an approachable introduction to
We need that anyway, and we like that for Scala 2 and the spec was a bit too academic.
So very concretely for spec, we
Um,
case to purpose 3.8.
For switching, I have a question or a concern coming from the comments here. It says, I'm citing, I'm a little concerned that planning to do 6 batches with 2 meetings, it is 2 months each, doesn't leave any leeway for things going not exactly as planned. End of quotation.
They always do. So
Well,
I mean, not always planned. But we could, we could have a specific or something.
We can plan to have things not go as planned.
But does that then?
It's also realistic. We are engineers, our estimations don't have much value.
Well, so I mean, first of all, I think there's an important thing here, and it is we commit to feature freeze. If all the steps aren't done by then, that doesn't mean we can't freeze. We're just still catching up on documenting all the work that has been done, all the decisions that have been made.
It's feature free, but feature documentation.
Right. I mean, no one's going to be upset with us if we, do more, documentation, more like, explaining decisions and more recording these things after we stop implementing them, right? I mean, I think it's important that and of course, hopefully will be done soon so that we can focus on bug fixing and performance and ecosystem bootstrapping. And there's plenty of work to be done on that side, obviously. But some of that can go on in parallel with catching up with the SIP backlog, because it's a very valid point. We're not going to be able to do all this in 1 year, but we should start by trying.
So
I'd
basically, I
also
would
like
difference that
to,
as we shouldn't have a new zip document arriving in 1 year. Like all of the zip documents should be delivered before 1 year, so that we can start it.
Right. And so the other thing realistically is that, we also need a kind of a cutoff date for when we can still consider new SIPs that might potentially be proposed, because we basically now booked out all our SIP meetings for the next year.
Yeah.
If someone else has a new thing to present, we have to either decide, well, sorry, this has to wait until after 3.0, or we're going to bump everything down. And, I mean, it's going to depend obviously on what it is, but
things we that are not in the list. Like
Well, yeah, sure, yeah.
Driving with operating.
I'd also like
Driving, exactly.
Right.
to raise
What are you pointing at me?
some something that might be uncomfortable, but I'd like to know that we have a strategy to know what we're going to do if one of those features is actually rejected by this community. Let's say we reject enums because it's a simple feature that we can give a simple name and everyone know what I'm talking about. I mean, personally, I would like to see it coming. So, what then? I mean, if the mandate of this committee is indeed to validate and to vote on the features before Scala 3 becomes Scala 3, and then if we reject one feature, it should mean that that feature should not be in Scala 3 when it's actually released. Right? So, yeah. I would just like to point out that uncomfortable possibility before we actually get into the situation.
Okay. Right. So, yeah. So there's several things. If it's already implemented, then the question is, what is the compiler going to do in this case? So let's say we agree that the feature should go, and then yeah, probably we will try to remove it and do that, or we leave it under a flag or something like that.
Yeah.
These sort of things. I imagine that would be.
Yeah, and I think it also it just emphasizes that it's important to do a good job with the motivation of every feature. And you know, it's
I think that to say if it's not accepted by this thing, we put it under the flag is it's a reasonable thing.
Or a source flag.
Or we all agree that it should just go. It was a better idea than we remove it. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is key, right? If we want people to upgrade, they have to be excited about the features that they're upgrading to. And if there is a collective voice that says, "Look, this is not something that we want to invest in," then you know we have plenty of other things to do that we can invest, you know, our efforts into. So I think that it's good that not everything can make it, and that we can focus more our energy on the ones that people are excited about.
Yeah.
I hope it's not enums because that would be pretty ironic. But, you know, I can imagine other ones that might not make it at about zero.
Yeah. There's one thing where I have to maybe we should discuss or still think about it, and that's concerns quorum. So the quorum was meant to be there in order to essentially be conservative in what we had, not to do too much. But now in a slightly different situation that we have a status quo which is already in there. So essentially that means, let's say, what about we have a feature and 5 are for and 4 are against? Do we remove or what do we
I think we have to remove it.
Yeah.
Not sure.
But wait,
That's how big
that's what we just decided, I thought. No? It's just, what did you, wait?
What is it? Is it simple majority or what is it? Like 2/3?
I mean, if I understand correctly,
Two-thirds.
Martin wants to, because so far we need more people to be in favor of adding something, right? For it to be. And Martin would like to argue that because it's already in the document.
No.
No, the fact that
I disagree personally. I'm just making that clear.
I'm saying
I think it
the
is.
majority feels it's a good thing. It should be, and that we have essentially more than a couple of detractors, and I think that the detractors shouldn't be able, in this case, to hold it up.
I don't think so. I think the fact that there's implementation guide just means there's an implementation, which is also has always been one of the requirements of the SIP, even though personally I didn't like that. I think that doesn't change anything. I mean, we can talk separately about changing the voting rules, although that's a separate meeting which I would prefer not to have today.
Before we get too uptight about this, are we actually anticipating that there is going to be an issue?
No, I'm not. I don't think so. I think there might be a few contentious features, and then maybe we're better off not including them. You know, we have plenty of work to do. I would rather focus on the ones that we're all excited about. You know, there's a long list there of very exciting things. If there's like 10% that falls off the wagon, you know, we'll add those in 3.1. We'll try again after 3.0. It's fine.
Right. On the list of, I mean, maybe it would make sense to just simply go through the list of additions, removals, changes, and just flag up. This is something where we expect consensus to be hard to reach, and then we can make a decision on that about whether it's something that we need to change the value group.
I mean, one of the, you know, on when we talked about what's coming in 3.0, we had like, you know, like the Dotty exclusives or stuff that we don't expect to do in 2.14 and that we feel is like the cohesive set of features that make Dotty so exciting. I think that's a batch maybe that we should consider together and start with soon, like after the next Scala days when we all have a little bit of time to sit down and work on that. And somewhere early summer, we come up with like the batch of like, this is like the essence of Scala 3. This is like the core stuff that is, you know, that is exciting. There's a lot, so there might be 2 batches like that. But I can imagine like the macro batch that has like inlining and you know, the different kinds of macros and you know, like those things, and then the type batch and the implicit function types. I don't know. I mean, like again, I think we should, you know, probably you and I, maybe it makes sense to take that doc and kind of see how we can shape the batches and suggest that. And yeah, I think it's also good to always think about all the eventualities. So it's a very fair point to raise. Like, are we going to run out of time? Are we going to run out of votes? What are we going to do then? But yeah, I don't know. We'll I don't think we should go against the opinion either. I don't think that strengthens the case for upgrading to Scala 3. All right. Is that
so
the end of the agenda?
This is the end of the meeting.
Okay.
So thank you
Are
very
we
much for
good on
being
the
here. And,
questions?
I think so, yeah, check.
Okay, cool.
We have, I think, 12 people watching.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi,
just,
people.
Thank you.
wait,
Thank
so,
you, goodbye.
so one question, so then you're on the, you're just,
Yeah, I'll take care of taking a batch.
and Adrian, are you gonna watch, I just wanna know, you're the one that's gonna watch, okay, the type song, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, just because I don't want this to, you know, be a thing where the first time we do it, we.
No, there will be action.
One of us, we don't know if we were supposed to, and then like nothing, you know,
I already have an entry in my to-do list.
Okay.
And I can help Adrian with whatever.
Yeah.
I'll make him.
Okay. Perfect. I just want to make sure it doesn't fall through cracks. That's all. Like especially the first time we do it.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
And then won't the second time.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Bye bye.
We're
Thanks,
also
everyone.
having bye and see you next time.
Perfect.